Okay.
Sorry to ask this like in the middle of it, but
No, you're fine.
should we do like a sync?
Yeah, we can do like I don't know, like a clapping thing or something.
I okay. I guess we should like do the same thing at the same time, like make the same type of noise.
Right. Well, why don't we
Let's
both
let's
clap?
let's sing a song real
What song are
quick. I don't
what
know.
song are we gonna sing?
How about A B C D? How about that? Just something we both sing at the same time.
Okay,
And
I will
please keep
sing the
all this
ABC
in.
song with you, Sam. Let's do
Please
it.
keep all of this in. All right,
All right, ready? A
three. Oh.
three. All right, 3, 2, 1. A B
A B
C
C
D
D
E
E
F
F
G
G H
H
I
I
J.
J
Fuck.
K L M. I was. We're synced. We're
We
synced.
didn't pause the same amount of time.
I I don't know when you're gonna pause in the ABC song.
I think you can use the beginning. I think that's good enough.
Yeah, we're fine. We're fine.
We both sang the A B C D part.
I'll get it synced up somehow. Hey
Okay.
everybody. Oh, okay. No, it's fine. It's all.
What a great
No, we're
start.
good. No, we'll just go now. Okay. All right. Do you want to do the introduction, or you want me to?
You do.
Okay. Hey everybody, welcome to our new podcast, Being Dead Rots. My name is Parker.
My name is Sam.
Um, we'll do short introductions to start. Sam, do you want to go first?
Sure. I'm Sam. I'm an artist. I have a Twitter account at Comic Nerd Sam, and I post mainly art and opinions on movies and stuff there.
Hey. All right.
Okay.
I didn't know how to react. Okay.
Hey.
My name is Parker. I do horror art as well, and talk about everything. I try to be funny on there, but I talk about movies and comics and all that. So, yeah.
Hey.
I think we should just do that at the end of all of them now.
Okay.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay.
Hey, baby.
Okay, so now that we've done introductions, we'll kind of talk about what this is. So essentially, what the podcast is going to be is every episode we'll talk about some kind of horror media, probably movies for now, unless we figure out a way to implement other stuff.
I feel like we could transition to comics at some point.
Yeah, we can do that. And I think we can also transition like horror art and stuff, as long as I put up photos and stuff.
That'd be fucking cool.
Yeah, we're gonna get to all that kind of stuff soon. We've got a lot of different people that are interested in coming on, but for this episode, we decided it'd be fun to just do me and Sam. We're gonna talk about, I think one of my favorite movies. Sam, what do you think?
It's definitely
on the scale.
It's definitely my top 50.
It's The Lighthouse.
That's not very specific. Yeah, it's Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse, directed by Robert Eggers, and it also stars everyone's favorite Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe.
Everyone's favorite. If it's not your favorite, you're going to jail.
Right. I'm sorry. That's just the rules.
That's just it. That's just it. If you haven't seen Good Time, you get life.
Ooh. I'm pulling on my shirt collar right now as you say.
Parker, you've seen Good Time, haven't you?
Anyways, so
Parker, I'm just gonna be on the phone with someone, not related.
So yeah,
First episode of the podcast, Parker gets arrested.
Yeah, eventually you're just gonna hear people pulling me away in handcuffs.
Just gonna hear sirens in the distance. They get louder.
You're just gonna make me want to get a siren asset and play it during the middle of this, and just
You should use the one from the Lighthouse. Blow everyone's ears out.
just play the siren noise from the movie. We'll do that. So yeah, me and Sam initially watched this, I think around the same time, right? Like within a day or so of each other.
We both saw it in the theaters, didn't we?
We did. Well, I mean
Yeah,
separately, but we both saw it around the same time, I think.
Yeah.
Both of us, I think, spent like a good day or two theorizing what the hell happened in that movie.
Yes, I remember. Like I was sitting up in bed up until like 2, and we were talking still.
It's just like, oh man, we'll get into it. It's a lot to process.
This was my 3rd time watching it. I still don't completely understand.
This was my 2nd time, and I don't know.
Maybe that was because my Blu-ray was out of order.
Oh yeah, Sam, go ahead. Why don't you tell everybody about that?
My friend JP, I love him to death. He got me a copy of The Lighthouse on Blu-ray for my birthday, like half a year ago, and I very much loved it. Didn't watch it until a couple nights ago. I'm watching it, and it gets to the part where Robert Pattinson sees the seagull for the first time. And it's a seagull cawing at him. And then where it's supposed to cut to a close-up of the seagull, instead cuts to him and Willem Dafoe having dinner. I was like, that's not right. I fast forward a little bit, and it goes back to the seagull. I'm like, okay, that was weird. But now I can just watch the rest of the movie. And then more time goes by, and it just cuts back to that same scene. And I was like, well, I'm gonna watch this somewhere else now. So I guess I'll buy a replacement, but that feels wrong because it was a birthday present. He gave it to me in that Amazon gift bag too.
Oh,
that nice one.
I mean, I'm sure if you call, you'll get some kind of refund or something, or they'll just send you a dead bird. I don't know. They're gonna send you one of the two. I guess we'll find out.
The intern in charge got really mad. I mean, to be fair, he's working at
They're like, I didn't press it wrong. You pressed it wrong. It's like, what does that even mean? Okay, so
come down here and press it yourself.
I think it's a good thing, by the way. I just want to say some of my audio got screwed up, but it's a good thing it was while you were talking and I wasn't inputting anything.
Oh.
I mean, it's fine. I fixed it. At least I hope. But some of my part got cut out during your thing. But I don't. It'll probably be fine. We'll find out. Whew. All right. So normally how this goes is one of us will dive in blind if the other knows about the movie, and then the other one obviously will watch it again. But since we both have watched this movie,
we both rewatched it.
Yeah, I rewatched it last night, so everything's still fresh for me. All the trauma.
I did some research.
Oh, okay.
Meaning I typed in Lighthouse on YouTube and clicked every video where the cast and crew were talking about it.
Hey, there you go. So I guess we
some
can,
information.
I guess we could probably. So obviously, spoiler alert, by the way, for this part of the podcast. So we could always do it where I can go through the run through of like the timeline I put together, and we could talk about each point.
Yeah. Okay.
And then afterwards, you can kind of share what you've learned about the movie.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So my notes are a little weird, but this is essentially where I'm at right now. So I noticed that from the very beginning, it was kind of weird that
sorry to interrupt you. Should we introduce the movie?
Yeah. Do you want to introduce the movie, or you want?
How about you?
Okay.
Sorry to kind of put you on.
No, you're fine. So The Lighthouse is a movie that was put out in 2019, in November, when I was working at a theater again. Luckily,
it was directed.
Yeah, I know, right? It was directed by Robert Eggers, and it was written by Robert and Max Eggers, which I believe are siblings, but I'm not going to put my foot in my mouth.
Yeah, they're siblings.
Okay, cool. And they both do a really great job in terms of both of those aspects. Like I said earlier, it stars Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, which I'm really glad Robert Pattinson got this role, because I think it showed people how serious he can be in a mainstream film with somebody who's been acting for a long time.
It definitely got me to have that change of view.
Yeah, and that's what I sat there and I was like, Robert Pattinson, blah blah blah, Twilight. But then I sat down and I was like, holy crap, he's great in this.
Yeah, that's the reason why I watched Good Time.
He puts on a fully different character than himself, and it seems like it'd be extremely hard to do, especially like, I don't know, I wouldn't say inexperienced, but he's had less movies than Willem Dafoe, obviously.
Yes.
But I feel like he still was on the same level during that movie as Willem Dafoe, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like they both knocked it out of the fucking park.
But it always felt like they were like toe to toe against each other during acting, which is so weird. Like, it almost felt like the other was trying to outact the other.
Well, in the interviews I watched, Robert Pattinson said that they do the read through before actually filming it. And then Willem Dafoe would make these crazy decisions, and Robert Pattinson would say, okay, I'll do this. And then they go on set, and then Willem Dafoe would make different decisions. And he'd be reacting to that. So it was kind of like they were head-to-head a little.
Yeah. And that's the thing with, like, Willem Dafoe. It must be weird working in a movie where you two are technically, like, the only actors, besides from, like, all the miscellaneous people in it. But, like, in terms of main characters, you two are the only people in this movie. You gotta imagine Willem Dafoe's trying to take a lot of creative input on it.
Yeah.
It turned out for the better though, regardless of how
it did. Yes. It seems like they tried to match each other's craziness.
Yeah,
and it just came out beautifully.
That's where some of those scenes worked, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think from the beginning, I noticed that a couple of things in the beginning scene. We'll start with there, obviously. I noticed, for starters, although this was a small thing and it could mean nothing, but in that iconic shot where both of them are looking out at the boat leaving, Willem Dafoe's character, which I'll just refer to them by their last names, which again, this is spoilers for the actual movie. But since they both have the same name, I'll go by last names. So for Willem Dafoe's character, it's Wake, because that's his character's last name. And then for Pattinson's, it's Howard. So just so there's no confusion, I don't keep calling them by their real names. So, but I noticed that that Wake, his like pipe is upside down, which I guess isn't a big thing, but later on, like, it's fine. And I mean, every little thing usually means something in this movie, so I don't know. It felt weird that in a shot that's lasting on them for so long, he would have it wrong, and later it's completely fine the whole movie. But again, that could literally mean nothing and just be nitpicking.
I noticed that too, but in my head I went, oh, that must be some sort of like historical thing.
It could be.
It could be he's just holding it in his teeth, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think it's 100% significant. I just thought it was weird when I was watching it.
Yeah, I noticed it too.
But then I also noticed, and I noticed this the first time, but I didn't really note it in my head until I watched it again. But I realized that the mermaid statue that Wake has throughout the movie, that Howard has throughout the whole movie, was already there in the bed. Like, it was being hidden by the last two guys that were there.
Yeah.
And it's strange because it almost makes me feel like those two were going through something similar.
That was my thought too.
Yeah. And it's weird because Willem Dafoe, aka Thomas Wake, throughout the whole movie kind of acts like he didn't just get there. Like, he kind of acts like he's been there the whole time, and then Pattinson showed up, aka Howard. Like, the way he kind of talks about, I don't know, the Lighthouse and how he showed up there, it feels like he's intruding on his space as if he's been there the whole time, and all of a sudden, although I guess that didn't happen. But like, I'm trying to think of how to word it.
The thing is, he's been there before, Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Because he's had like a lot of experience. He just kind of like, I think he's just like, he's alternating shifts, so he leaves and then comes back. And
yeah,
leaves
but
again.
that was like, that's the weird thing though, is he acts like he didn't leave for whatever period of time he left and came back. He acted like he was there the whole time or something. Just in the way he said things. I didn't write down specifically what he said that made me think that, but like his mood.
They do stayed there for just like 4 weeks, right?
Yeah, I mean they said that, but
So if he
obviously
just
that's not
if he
what
just
happened.
left if he just left for 4 weeks, then.
Yeah, maybe.
But then what was that's kind of like, that's something I didn't really think about while watching it, but now I'm thinking of like, what's his backstory? What does he do when he's not on the island?
Well, I have a theory, and I don't know if I want to say it until we go through the timeline, just because it involves my theory and what happened with the movie. Yeah, I'll kind of like tell you what I think at least.
Oh, we should do that. Like,
yes.
You say your theory of what's happening, I say mine.
Yes, that was my thought.
Okay, yes.
Did you notice anything during like the beginning scene, specifically the part where Willem Dafoe, aka Wake, is in the lighthouse for the first time? Because I noticed something.
Oh, fuck. See, I should have taken notes too. You
I mean,
were more prepared for this than me in that area.
Well, I took these at like 3 a.m. last night, like half asleep, so they're all kind of nonsensical.
Why did I write down the word basketball?
I literally mean? one of the things I wrote was I called seagulls gull for some reason, and I don't know, I posted things in very short sentences with less words than necessary.
Gull.
Yeah, I don't know why I called them all gulls. I don't even think they called them in that. They called them seabirds.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, but
iconically.
Yes. Bad luck to kill a seabird, Sam.
Ooh, are we getting into our Defoe impressions now?
That's not my Defoe. Bad luck to kill a seabird. One thing I did notice though during the scene where he's in there naked is his chest scar, and I didn't notice that at the beginning. Have you noticed that?
No, he has a chest scar.
So, and this also plays in with my theory that I'm going to talk about later.
I took a screenshot of that actually, so I can look at it.
Yeah, but I'll pull up a screenshot right here if it's video format. Here's the screenshot. But in the movie, only 2 times is it shown because he's only shirtless 2 times throughout the movie. But it's in the lighthouse scene and the scene later where he shows up as Poseidon. To Howard. I don't know if you know the scene I'm referring to. But in both of those scenes, but in both of those scenes, he has a scar of what I think is a pirate ship in his chest.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, and I noticed it at the beginning, and I didn't know what it was specifically. But then when I saw the Poseidon scene, I was like, oh, okay. And I'll kind of give a bit of input as to what I think in terms of that chest tattoo, or not tattoo, scar. I feel like we've only seen it in 2 scenes, and one of them is a major hallucination scene. At least that's what I think. And then the other one is during a thing where he's not in the room, he wasn't there seeing that. So it kind of goes into my theory a bit that either both of those things are real, because he wouldn't have been able to know about the chest scar unless he saw it, and the second thing's might be a hallucination. Or either both of those scenes are real or neither of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't have been able to know about that scar because he hadn't seen it, except for the hallucination scene where he looked like Poseidon.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That just plays into my theory a bit, but
that is interesting.
It is, and
I never noticed that before.
Me neither, and that's why I'm glad I watched it so close to now. Because
yeah.
Good thing for my procrastination, right? So, yeah, do you have anything to add yet? I just wanted to give you a chance to talk.
I think let's keep going.
Okay, I just didn't want to run you over the entire podcast with information without giving.
Yeah.
So I also noticed it had very heavy like Telltale Heart vibes the entire time, like where he's just kind of mad at the person he's supposed to be working for / taking care of.
Yeah.
It just had those vibes throughout at least the first quarter of the movie.
I'd say like the whole movie.
Yeah, but like especially the first half, he was very resentful towards him for just the fact that he was kind of an asshole to him.
Yeah, the first half, it's definitely like he's more restraining himself.
Yeah, like
and trying
everything
not to let
before
on.
the storm, I would say, which is like the
Yes.
breaking point, I think.
Yes, and the
Yeah.
seabird scene.
Yes, the seabird.
Seabird.
So I did notice, and I think you probably noticed this too. I think we discussed this part. How the seagull that bugs Howard the entire time, Robert Pattinson's character, only has one eye.
Yes.
And I noticed, I made sure to pay attention to which birds had only one eye. And I will say the later scene where he does, in fact, kill a seabird, the one inside of whatever the hell that is, I think it's just where the water is supposed to be purified.
Yeah, yeah.
The bird in there does not have one eye, but the one he kills does.
Ooh.
Which I made sure to write this down in all caps.
That,
and
that's actually a thing. How did that seabird get in there? I never really thought of that.
I always thought it was some kind of sign of some sort of loop or something. And I don't know why I think that. I think it was just because he killed a seabird and all of a sudden there's a very beaten and dead bird inside of there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it doesn't look like it just flew in or something. It looks like it was murdered by something and then put in there.
That kind of that fits in because there's a lot of this movie where sort of time is questioned.
Yeah.
Like when Willem Dafoe says, "We've been here for weeks."
Yeah.
And Pence is just like, "We've been here just yesterday."
Well, and I don't know if I just went to the bathroom or something during this scene, but everything that happened right before this, or right when the storm was going on, where Willem Dafoe had said he'd been telling him for weeks they need to get preparations ready and stuff like that. It did play into what I think happened in the movie, but I must have been out to lunch during that scene or something because I was like, I don't remember that happening, but all right.
Yeah, it like, and that thing about loops.
Yeah,
that's also like, that's the thing I love about this movie. And up till that whole concept was like addressed in the movie, where Willem Dafoe is just like, "This all in your head? Maybe I don't exist.
Yeah.
A figment of your imagination." That's like, before then, I was watching the movie, I was going, yeah, it's not as good as I remember it. I'm enjoying this, but not as much. And then, like, as soon as that's introduced, I go, oh, no, yeah, I love this movie.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's so good because of the fact that you can theorize for days about what happened.
Yes, very much.
And that's what I think the director somewhat talked about in the, like, one interview I saw where he just said he just wanted to make a movie about two guys going crazy. And then it just kind of, it spiraled out from under that.
Another thing, so this is where my master research comes in. There was this interview where this lady who was interviewing Robert Eggers, the director, she asked about, like, why does a seagull have one eye? And then Eggers says, well, rewatch it, you'll see a lot of, things having to do with one eye. And so I was trying to kind of look out for that during the movie. Did you notice anything, like, besides the fact that, the guy who died previously also had one eye?
I actually did. And not only that, I just realized something upon hearing you talk about that. The whole point of Telltale Heart, which I just referenced, was the old man's eye that he killed him with.
Oh.
And there's a lot of symbolism about eyes in this movie. It doesn't mean anything, I don't think, but it does show, I feel like, a lot of his inspiration came from that story.
I'm getting a little worried. When people listen to this, they're going to hear this and go, what? You're making that connection? Fuck you.
Well,
I feel like we need a disclaimer that we're going to get very conspiracy theorists.
Yes, there's a lot of conspiracy theories about this movie that we've gone over, and I'm actually starting to get a new one as we discuss it.
Ooh.
And I almost want to talk about it, but I want to get through the timeline so that it all makes sense for everybody listening.
Yes.
What? Okay.
So what was it you noticed? The one eye?
So,
that was the Telltale Heart.
Well, yeah, it's near the end. The thing I noticed about One Eye, and I'll tell you this.
Okay.
Which actually leads into my new theory, but we'll. Okay, so I'll kind of go through a couple of them just to kind of skate around it. So, we do know that his old partner died. Wake's old partner died. That can mean a lot of things, but I think it means what I think it means in a minute. He also, I wrote this down, but I didn't do as much research as I wanted to on it. He said that Saint Elmo cast fire into it. Do you know much about Saint Elmo?
No. Did you hear me?
No, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, no. So I don't know why my mic didn't pick that up.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know much about him either. I probably should have done research beforehand, but I wrote it down like it was interesting. And
I know the song.
Yeah. I don't know.
You don't know the song?
Maybe I don't.
It's this 80s song.
Is it any? Oh.
Saint Elmo's fire.
Oh, I did see that when I looked it up. Well, hey, now I have a song to listen to afterward.
Oh, yeah. But should have used it at the Lighthouse.
Yeah.
They should have used that as the end song instead of the sea chant.
They should have. They should have done that. I did like the ending song, by the way. It was very haunting.
That would be so fucked. Just sitting in theaters too. You're sitting with a bunch of traumatized people. Just some 80s song blares.
Right. I did really like I said, the credits music was very haunting the entire time.
Yes.
Like, it was very aggressive and yet... Oh yeah, it's been stuck in my head all day.
It's very catchy.
It is, and it's very catchy. Especially since I was doing...
it's on Spotify.
Yeah, it is on Spotify. And I remember I was ushering around that time, and I'd have to hear it every time, but I freaking jammed out every time I heard it, because it's good. It hits.
Why has someone made a meme where it's that dog that's shaking its butt up and down, but it's to that music?
Have you
seen that one where...
Oh, you might have sent me that.
Oh yeah, where it's Robert Pattinson's gibberish when he's dancing.
Okay, so I did notice that Howard cracks first in terms of talking crazy. Like, they're both tense the entire movie, which I think we should really talk about. There's almost every kind of tension in this movie.
Yes.
In general. Like, so there's regular horror tension, I feel like, throughout the entire thing. There's like this surrealist, you don't know what's happening kind of tension also. But there's also like this gross out / sexual tension the entire time too. Yes. At least for the audience.
Yes.
Like, there's a lot of very close up, not showing anything, but like masturbation scenes, and
yes,
they're very close the entire movie and physically. I don't know. It did feel like they were trying to use every kind of tension they could use to put you out of your comfort zone.
I don't know about you, but those masturbation scenes, those are my favorite. I just think they're very well shot and well acted too. Robert Pattinson, I believed he had an orgasm.
Do you think that someone also got a messed up Blu-ray copy, but the scene that keeps repeating is just the masturbation scene?
my god!
I was almost concerned that was the scene you were talking about. That was continuously playing. I was like, please God in heaven, that would be so great.
That belongs in a museum if that exists.
The only copy that has his masturbation scene like 8 times.
Just imagining some guy with his friends, and they all sit down to watch it, and it's like the first 10 minutes, and it cuts to that out of nowhere.
Right. The movie's already confusing enough, and then that just plays over and over, and you're like, is this part of it? What's going on right now?
Can we talk about Robert Pattinson's screams in this?
Yeah,
because specifically that one where he's like, he's cranking it.
The post masturbation scream is like one of the genuinely haunting parts of that movie.
It's like one of the most pathetic things I've ever heard.
Yeah, but it's like I don't know. It feels genuine, even though you obviously know it's not. It's a movie, but
Yeah.
it really does feel like despair is what you can hear. And it's crazy because I mean I don't know. They just both did a really good job in terms of like their screams and like how they talk about I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so their moods and like what they talk about and their topics and stuff like that, they all change incredibly fast. Like to the point where it's nonsensical sometimes. Like they'll be talking about one thing in one mood, and then all of a sudden they'll be angry at each other talking about something that makes absolutely no sense.
I think a good example of that is like when they're both having a fun time, they're getting drunk because it's supposed to be their last night there.
Yeah.
And like Robert Pattinson just suddenly like Willem Dafoe mentions the light, and Robert Pattinson's just like, why haven't I been up there?
Yeah.
And then they start like arguing, and then they both just like there's a bit of tension, and then they just both laugh it off.
Yeah, that scene is pretty good. Well, I think two of the examples I thought of specifically, besides that one is a good example. There's one scene where I don't remember which point specifically it's in, but it's when they're both drunk and they're holding each other and they're like rocking back and forth and singing songs. And then all of a sudden, literally like nothing preempts it or causes it. All of a sudden they're they're beating the hell out of each other. Like it's almost a comedic timing how fast it flips.
I actually have an interesting kind of point of view on that.
Oh, okay.
Well, I noticed what you failed to bring up in that description of the scene.
Yeah.
Is that they're rocking back and forth and holding each other, and then they kind of break away a tiny bit and start staring at each other.
Yeah.
And their faces slowly start
inching
towards each other. And then Robert Pattinson like pushes them away like, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah, I do remember that now that you're mentioning it. Like I've seen it both times.
That's kind of interesting because that they just start fighting afterwards.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like they're trying to reassert their masculinity, I guess.
Yeah. That is a weird. That does make sense for that scene. I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird scene because, and there's another scene that happens like that where they're talking about a lot of different things, and then he talks about Wake's cooking, or Wake says, "You like my cooking, don't you?" And he's like, "No, I don't like your cooking." Blah blah blah, and then he gets up and he does all this shouting at him, and now that's already out of place in my opinion. But I think what was more out of place to me is his reaction afterwards, which was like the whole time he was doing his speech about Poseidon striking him down, you could see Howard is very like kind of trembling, not trembling, just like kind of cowering a bit, and he's obviously freaked out by the fact that he's just screaming all this nonsense at him. But immediately after he's done, with almost no pause, then Howard just goes, "All right, fine, I like your cooking." And it's a oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's like the most intimidating scene because of that whole long take.
Yeah.
Just Willem Dafoe. It's also like one of the funniest scenes.
It is funny. And it's funny.
Like my cooking. I've seen you.
Like, it was just funny because of how quick he like almost wasn't bothered by it. Even though the entire time he was yelling he was bothered. Like you could visibly see that he was not comfortable with the situation he was in.
Yeah, I think he was just like taken aback.
Yeah, but all of a sudden he was just nonchalant, like, all right, fine, I like your cooking. But it almost feels like, I don't know, do you know how you have a dream and, like, none of the conversations make sense at all?
Yes.
Like, 1 second you're doing one thing and talking about something, and the next you're, like, on a completely different, I don't know. It's that same kind of thing where the entire time they're drunk, it feels very much like none of that is happening, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is kind of, I haven't gotten drunk, but from what I've heard, that's a lot of how that feels.
Wow, two people who've never gotten drunk are talking about being drunk.
I've heard it feels a lot like, I don't know, just a lot of flip switches really fast, and a lot of loose connection to what actually happened the night before. Yeah. That's what those scenes feel like. Is like a weird recollection that might have happened, might not have happened, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, what's that?
Well, that was the scene that made me go, okay, I'm gonna see this in theaters.
Yeah.
Because I saw on Twitter somebody posted that clip, and it was specifically the clip where Robert Pattinson goes like, "If I had a steak, I'd fuck it," and then it cuts to Willem Dafoe like making like a face. Like,
I remember that scene. He was like so interested in that prospect.
I like whenever that kind of comedy would happen. Like, there's a lot of that comedy in this movie, where it's just like people going insane, and then it gets really awkward and funny. Every time that happened when I was seeing in theaters, I could just like sense like everyone around me going, "What?"
Yeah, that's the thing about being in a theater with people. In terms of that movies, you can feel the tension in the room.
Yes.
Like, you can tell people are not comfortable with what they're watching.
Yes,
and that's what I love about it, is it's so good at freaking people the hell out, even though they have no idea what's going on.
I gotta tell you about my first viewing story.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So, the thing is, I was at college at the time, and I thought, oh, I'll just take a bus to the local theater. Well, I'd waited until Sunday, and on Sunday the buses don't really run.
Right.
So I had to walk there.
Oh.
And it's like a 30-minute walk.
Mm-hmm.
So I walked 30 minutes there, and I bought my ticket online. So they scan me in, and I go in and I say, which theater is it? And they said, oh, Theater 9. And I walk in, it's a big theater.
Yeah.
And I sit down, and there's, the pre-trailer kind of things playing. And a bunch of other people sit down, and it's like old people.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is weird. And then a trailer for Disney's Onward starts playing. And I think, I guess they just play the same trailers at this theater for every screen. Because I didn't think they'd play this before the Lighthouse.
And
then play some more Disney trailers. And then the screen goes dark, the lights go dark, the movie's gonna start. And then I see the Disney castle.
Was it Frozen? I think Frozen was out.
I don't know, because I thought, oh, everything clicked at that point. The old people and all the Disney trailers, and I shot up out of my seat and rushed out of the theater. And I rushed to the person at the front. I was like, excuse me, I walked into the Fox Theater. Which theater's the Lighthouse? Because I was like, oh, I missed this movie. I missed like the first 5 minutes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so then I go to the right theater. Luckily, it was still showing the trailers. And I saw a trailer for Uncut Gems.
Hey.
I was like, oh, hey, that's the movie Barry talks about. And yeah, and then I watched it. But that was a funny mishap. I was totally in belief that they were playing Disney trailers.
I kind of thought it'd be really
Lighthouse.
funny if you were late to the Disney movie and showed up and you're like, I didn't know this was animated or had color.
When does it turn to black and white? Is that like a flashback sequence?
Yeah, it must be. I don't know. I didn't know Elsa was in this. All right. I think that's what was. It was either that or that Spies in Disguise movie. I know too much about what movie was out at the end of last year.
Spies in Disguise, is that Disney?
Maybe it's. Nah, I don't know. I won't. I'm not gonna put my foot in my mouth. I can't remember. It's by a studio. That's all I know.
I totally forgot that movie even existed until you brought it up.
Everyone did. No one showed up to that movie. It was very surprising.
You should
we
know.
We were all like barricading and ready for like tons of families to come in, and like no one came to watch that movie. It's crazy.
Ooh.
I know. Especially since it has Tom Holland in it. But,
yeah.
So we're getting. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
It's so weird to like talk back and forth on Discord, only because there's like a 1 second lapse, and so like I'll start saying something again, and then you'll want to say something. I'm like, crap, I've already started to say something.
Yeah, and then we interrupt each other, and we both stop. Like, oh, you go.
It's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, So I did notice that. I don't know.
Wait, what? No,
I
you
don't
go.
know.
You go.
Okay, so I noticed that that during Wake's, aka during Wake's speech, he does mention something. I was looking at it word for word because I don't know. It was just a lot of interesting wording for everything that he was talking about. But I did notice very quickly that he says during the speech, he mentions Howard being pecked to death by the souls of dead sailors, and maybe like ripped apart, or I can't remember, but it was something along those lines. And he had said earlier in the movie that the souls of the seabirds were souls of dead sailors, and that's exactly what happens to him at the end of the movie. Spoiler again. I already said spoiler, but at the end of the movie, he's pecked apart by seabirds, and so I think it's definitely telling that he would know what fate was going to hit him, or on the flip side, he was able to, I don't know, like summon that fate on him somehow.
Yeah, and I think that whole like curse he set on him just came true.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like that. And I don't
also
yeah.
a parallel.
Yeah.
That I can't really ascribe any meaning to it, but I noticed it. So brownie points. Is that when he's painting the lighthouse and he falls down?
Yes.
The bird, the one-eyed bird, jumps on him and then pecks his knee, and he kicks it away. And he's also spilled paint on himself, white paint.
Yeah.
And it looks very similar to when he has bird shit on him.
Yes.
And he's being eaten by birds.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but I noticed it. So hey,
I think
follow me on Twitter.
This is
if you want more observations.
for more Lighthouse observations. That's all our accounts are. Lighthouse.
For every retweet, I'll post another observation about the lighthouse.
Hey guys, did you know that?
So what I'm saying is,
Pattinson
Parker, we can't release
links in this scene. This could mean a lot of. Here's
what I'm saying, Parker, is you gotta cut out everything about the lighthouse that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So that I can post it on Twitter when people retweet.
Right.
Because if you do post it, then I don't know. I'll have to track you down or something. It's just like, don't test me.
Right. Oh, okay.
Just like I mean,
you just start doing the whole speech.
I have a bat, and my parents' car can go pretty fast.
Right.
If I wanted to. And I have a friend who's very good at hacking. And can look up IP address or whatever hackers do, and and I've seen your face, so I can pick you out from a crowd and just go to town,
I fear for my life. All right.
You just started doing that? Amateur.
Okay, so I'm on my last 2 points, but
That's some nice blackmail I created for myself.
Right.
You're actually gonna get beat up by someone with a bat, and then
the
authorities are gonna find this shit.
If I go missing, you know what happened. I'm just kidding.
Oh no!
I'm kidding. Okay.
I would never do that to you, Parker. You're my friend.
Thank you. Okay, so
that was a joke for jokies.
Okay, so
I don't know why I'm being such a chaotic force.
You're always a chaotic force, but that's why
we're trying to have a discussion about this film, and then I just throw a wrench into the works.
It's fine. I'm on my last 2 things, anyways.
Can I send you what's been staring at me this entire time?
Yes.
All right. The people listening aren't gonna.
No, I'll show the photo. I'll show the photo.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
It's just I've had that pulled up and it's staring at me.
Every shot from that movie is a masterpiece, including that one. Also, I just wanted to say, since you talked about it, the lighthouse painting scene, I love that scene only because of the transition when he gets knocked out. I really,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, just something about it immediately shooting the black at like when he hits his head. I don't know. I mean, it's something that's been done before, but the way they did it for some reason was just fantastic.
It just like really makes that impact hit.
Yeah. Okay, so these are the last 2 points I have timeline wise. So we're at the point where, I mean, I skipped a lot of between here. But I mean, they go crazy. They get drunk for several different sequences. Yeah, and Wake makes him question his reality a lot by asking him like, "How long have they been here?" And am I even real? Are you even real?
5 weeks, 2 days.
Right, and that was weird to me because he came across as like, I don't know, very self-aware for a minute. Like, it was very different from the other scenes. The other scenes, he's only talking in terms of like what's happening right now, but all of a sudden he's talking about like, oh, here's this whole scale thing. I don't know,
yeah,
but we get to the point where we finally. Oh, I'm sorry.
it like, it could be he's just gaslighting the shit out of him.
Yeah.
But also, like, we as the audience are looking at it from Robert Pattinson's perspective, so we don't know.
Right.
We're kind of being gaslit too.
So, my last 2 points before I get into, we can do theories and then we can do, or do you want to do what you've researched before theories? I only thought that because then we'd give people time to make their own before we talk about what the directors talked about, but that's up to you.
To be honest, my research has only gotten me just trivia. No real insight into the film.
I mean, hey, there you go. I mean, that's not bad. So yeah, we'll do theories and then we'll do like some of the stuff you learned about behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're at the point where Howard loses his mind, and he makes him walk out like a dog, which was also a very weird scene.
Yes.
And then he buries him.
That was another scene where like there was a ripple of uncomfortableness in the theater.
Yeah, you could just feel, you could cut the tension with like a thin butter knife. It was so bad. No, that's not. You would need 2 knives. I don't know where I'm going.
You could cut it with a fork.
But when he's being buried, I noticed very quickly that he only keeps one eye open the entire time. The entire time that Wake is being buried, he only has one eye open. And I mean, again, that could be nothing, but given what you said and the fact that the seagull only had one eye, it makes me think what I'm about to say my theory is in a second. But the last point is he has blood on his face from when Wake gets back out of his grave and hits him with an axe, and then he kills him with... Yeah. And... Sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Okay.
Bless you.
Thank you. But he has blood not all over. It's very light. Like, you can still see his face. But what I noticed is, at the end, when he's crawling up the stairs, he is coated in blood. A lot more blood. So something had to have happened between then, like, when he killed him and when he got to the lighthouse. Something happened. Because he is covered, from head to, I would say, where his chest shows on the shirt, he's just covered in blood. And then I also noticed during the haunting end scene where he's screaming, which is one of my favorite parts of that entire movie.
Oh, that's, like, leading up to it, I was smiling and pumping my arms like, yes.
I know. And I think I told you about this part before, but it's when he sees the light and it starts getting brighter, I don't know if it's the way the lighting is going, it's probably this. But the way they did the scene, it looks like the blood is, like, leaving him when, like, the light turns out.
I noticed that, too, this time.
And it was very, like, I don't know, because it's such dark blood up until that happens.
Like, it could be, like, a lighting thing, like, it's getting lighter, but there is this, like, technique in, like, old Hollywood films that makes it more interesting, is that, like, and there was, like, a horror movie that used this, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, like, the Universal, was it Universal? That movie, what they do is they put, paint on someone's face, and then they put a filter over the camera,
Mm.
and you wouldn't be able to see the paint, and then they'd take off the filter, and then the paint would show up.
Huh.
So it makes me think, like, if I didn't know that, I would think, like, oh yeah, that's just a lighting thing. But, you know, it makes me question, did they, like, intentionally do that?
Yeah. I feel like they did. I feel like it was, I don't know, because I paid attention, because when I watched it the first time and I told you about it, I don't know if I said this to you, but in my head I was like, I might have just not been looking at it correctly. You know what I mean? Like, it could have just been a lighting thing. But I watched it again, and it looks very intentional to me. Like, there's parts of the blood that aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe some parts of the fake blood or whatever they used were lighter than others, and they just didn't show up. Or it was completely intentional, and, like, the blood left. Either way, it's a haunting scene, and I love it. The scream.
Like, and the big crush on the audio.
Yeah.
And it takes a bit for you to realize that it's, like, bit crushed audio. Because you're just thinking, oh, this is weird noises, and then you start to see him, like, open his mouth and scream.
Right.
Oh my god.
But it also, and I just thought of this, throughout the entire movie you hear the bullhorn, and I think that might have been part of what that audio was before he started screaming. Is I think the lighthouse was going off.
Yeah.
Just in my opinion, though. I mean, it's hard to tell because obviously it's heavily bit crushed, but it would make sense since that's the only noise that would be that loud compared to his scream.
You know what? You've just kind of given me a thought.
Yeah?
Could maybe, like, hearing loss at all, like, play into anything happening in this movie? Because, like, there is a scene where Pattinson's working in the engine room and he can't hear Defoe at all, and I bet, like, with that big bullhorn going off.
Well, he didn't hear him because he had earplugs in case if you remember that. But you're right.
But
there's a lot of hearing loss in this movie. There's a lot of scenes where, like, the bullhorn's way too loud, and they aren't even that. Well, they are that close to it. They aren't, like, in the lighthouse or anything, and it's still incredibly loud.
Yeah.
I think it could affect parts of it, but I'm not sure personally. Okay, so theory time. Do you want to talk about your theory first, or do you want me to?
Sure, I'll talk about mine first.
Okay.
Alright. So.
Oh, and then he got eaten by birds. Sorry, I forgot to include that.
Yeah. And then you know.
And the lighthouse was not there in that scene, which is part of my.
And then there's a post-credit scene where what happens? It's
Wait,
like
there's a post-credit scene?
Yeah, it's like you see the shot of the boat coming back, and then you know, you see someone step it off, but you just see their feet, and they walk up to the lighthouse and they open the door, and then they, like, turn around and it's Samuel L. Jackson with an eye patch, and he gives, like, a little smile and then closes the door behind him as he walks in.
What?
And he says this lighthouse is gonna join the Avengers Initiative.
You're screwing with me! Oh my gosh. I'm mad at you.
Did I really have you hooked?
Yes, because I I didn't watch all the credits, so I was like, I don't know, maybe.
I'm sorry, I was gonna make it obvious that it was a lie, but then, like, I started adding in, like, what was it?
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh.
Sorry.
I'm upset. No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Okay. So, I am of the belief.
Yes.
That you know, the movie is intentionally designed so that any theory is correct.
Yeah.
Every theory, I believe that every theory is going on at the same time, but the one I think, the one that interests me the most, is that Willem Dafoe is some sort of representation of God.
Yeah.
And the lighthouse is heaven. And Robert Pattinson is dead.
Yeah.
And he's going through this hell. He's going through this purgatory. And then when he finally reaches heaven, it rejects him. And he actually does go into a hell-like place.
Oh, so like a Dante's Inferno, well, like a reverse Dante's Inferno, I guess.
Yes, and now that I'm saying it, I realize it's not really all that interesting.
I think it's interesting because
I mean, I feel like it's an obvious thing.
especially when he confesses. I mean, that makes sense.
Yes, that is true.
Throughout the whole movie, it does feel like he's trying to get him to say something.
Yes.
And if you think about it through the way that you're talking about it, where it's a purgatory, that would technically be him atoning for his sins, and then after that is whatever judgment that's coming. And immediately after that is the scene where he hallucinates and sees him as Poseidon about to strike him down.
Yes, and
so
also
there is a lot of validity to what you're saying.
He's very controlling.
Yeah.
And what he says is word is what he says
very
is
Old
law.
Testament God, yeah.
Of course, what he says is word, but it is also law.
Right.
Because word is just what makes up words. Parker, do you know that?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, you've just been speaking gibberish this whole time. I've been just relying on kind of the intonation of your voice as you're speaking this gibberish.
Well,
in fact, I don't even know
bad.
if you really answer me. I don't even know if you're really saying anything. I'm just assuming.
Well, that's gonna be bad for recording.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I can do it, I bet
Right.
other people could.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. What was that? Can you say that more pronounced in certain aspects?
It was a laugh.
I know what you're.
I was laughing.
Oh, okay. I don't know how I got from intonation that you were laughing. Like you said you were laughing, but I got it. Yeah. Boy.
Okay.
This really has highs and lows, doesn't it? And the lows are completely my fault.
No, it's fine. I mean, we have to have comedy every once in a while. It's okay.
I don't like the theory I was peddling just now, to be honest.
Yeah?
It was living in my head, and then when it came out of my mouth, I looked at it and thought, oh, this is not good. I should just put it up for adoption or something.
I do think it makes sense, is all I'll say.
Put it in a bag and throw it out the river.
I do think the theory does make sense for a lot of the scenes in the movie.
I just feel like it's very basic. Like, it's very obvious, like, oh, yeah, he could be God.
Yeah, if you think about it in a very physical... If you think about it in a very physical, like, we obviously know Robert Pattinson's real. Or, I mean, in this theory, we know Robert Pattinson's real.
Yes.
And we don't know about the rest of it. If we go by that theory, then this does make a lot of sense in terms of this being some kind of trial to... whether it's an afterlife or just a punishment, it does make sense.
Yeah.
Because especially Purgatory is isolation. That's what Purgatory is. And that entire movie is about isolation between these two.
Yeah. Well, while I was saying it, I realized what interests me more is, like, I don't know, I feel like there's so many aspects of the movie you can just write a whole fucking essay about.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a whole thesis.
But that's what you were saying.
College paper.
And that's like you were saying, that this movie probably doesn't really have one answer. And they did make it in my opinion, they made it intentionally, like you said, to make it so anybody can make a theory, and they're probably right. And you can, there's a lot of stories where you can do that, where you can essentially make a very basic plot line, but make a lot of the scenes either feel like they're out of order or feel like they don't make sense. And when you do that, you make it so that it's very easy to theorize about the movie. If you make it so that I noticed there were a lot of scenes where they honed in on things and used tools that they used to hone in on important, so like, let's say in a detective movie, a murder, like it's an off-screen thing, a murderer kills somebody and leaves a knife on the table, and the screen, it hones in on that for like a minute. And they use a lot of techniques to be like, okay, that knife is important. It's going to be important later. They do that for so many things in that movie that normally don't come back. Like, there's one of my thinking, like you were saying with his pant leg, that could mean anything. They did hone in on that, and they did make it seem like it was a very important detail, but they never really came back to his pants. They just had a lot of things that make it seem like they would connect with what happened in that scene.
Parker.
Yes.
You just sparked something in my mind.
Yeah?
Another observation that I'll tell you all once I get a retweet. Okay. So this movie deals a lot with identity.
Yeah.
Deals with who are these people? Are they same person? Are they different people? What's happening? What you just sparked in my head by calling back to the seagull plucking on his leg.
Mm-hmm.
That seagull is plucking on his leg that on Willem Dafoe is broken.
Oh.
He broke and then he has a hobble now. That's the leg he was pointing to when he was describing him breaking his leg. That's the same leg.
That's interesting.
And they're both named, this is a spoiler,
Thomas,
both named Thomas. So are they the same person?
So here's what I think.
Are we getting into your theory now?
Yes, if that's okay.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so my theory is it sounds bland, and it did to me too, but as I watched the movie over again, it felt to me like it made the most sense. It legitimately... Okay, so I came up with some new parts of it. So everything up until midway through the movie when he kills the seagull is pretty normal, I'd say. I think what happened is when he killed that seagull, that was more of a metaphorical scene for him killing Wake. I think it was a very Telltale Heart situation where he resented him and he was mad at him, and it did feel like there was a lot of tension building up to that, and that seagull did a lot of bugged him and messed with him and this and that, and then he kills him he kills the bird very violently. And if that bird is, even if it's a metaphor in other theories for Willem Dafoe's character, I think the actual timeline is everything that led up to the bird thing, except when he killed the bird, he was actually killing Willem Dafoe, like what happened in Telltale Heart. And then everything from there is a kind of hallucination brought on by all the guilt of killing both of those people. But I think also you could put it as a lot of the things that he learns in terms of his name and his old captain mate and his leg and stuff like that. Some of that stuff comes after he kills the bird.
Oh my god, you're right.
And so it almost feels like in my theory, after he kills him, he constructs this personality for him that's just him again. But as an older man, you know what I mean? You could even bring that to the beginning of the movie. I think partially the whole movie could just be fake, and he could be hallucinating it from minute one. There's really no way to tell. But I think a majority of the movie and Wake's personality is Howard reflecting himself onto an older man, whether he's real or not. Because there's scenes where he shows sanity, Wake shows a lot of scenes where he sounds like he's making sense. But as a person who's been following Pattinson's character, you're like, well, that didn't happen because I've been here the whole time with him. But if you see it from another perspective of Pattinson being an unreliable narrator to follow, then you see he's probably going crazy, and Wake's just trying to run the place, and freaking Pattinson keeps freaking out on him. I don't know. That's just I think he was hallucinating a majority of the movie, and Wake is it's him, but not in a physical sense. It's just him again that he's projecting onto another person. Because he shows up, and that links with what I was saying earlier with his chest scar. He would have had no way to know that he had a chest scar, and he saw it during that hallucination scene. So either both of those scenes are real, or neither of them are real. And if both of them are real, then all of this is real and everything's supernatural. But if both of them are fake, then that means that Wake, at least the scene of him in the lighthouse, if not the whole movie, he was never real. That's
my god, Parker. That is an angle to this movie I've never considered before. I'd never even come close to considering. And while you were explaining all that, my jaw was agape.
Well, good.
I'm glad
it made sense.
I was like, what?
Well,
that makes so much sense.
I think when you go into the movie, it's very easy to latch on to Pattinson's character as the good guy. Even when you learn he's killed somebody, it's very easy to latch on to him as the protagonist. And when there's a protagonist in a film, no matter what everybody else says he does, you as the person who's watching it are going, well, no, I watched what he did, and he didn't do that. But if you take yourself out of it and go, okay, well, what if what we're seeing is inside of his mind and he's going crazy? Then the spots where he's like, oh, this happened, and you're like, no, it didn't. If you think, like, well, maybe it did, then the whole movie... Yeah, sorry.
And that plays into, like, after they've broken the lifeboat.
Yeah.
And then Willem Dafoe blames that on him, even though we saw it was Dafoe who did it.
Right.
And then Pattinson just doesn't try to deny it.
Well, and that's the weird thing about that scene, is what we see is Willem Dafoe's character all of a sudden run outside, break up the boat, and then run back inside. And then when Pattinson runs back inside, then he's like, you just chased me inside with an axe and broke that. And at first you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I just saw you do that. But that whole scene doesn't make any sense, because why would he run outside, break it up, and then run back inside and not have the axe?
And that also... Hold on. Sorry, my brain's running a mile a minute.
No, you're fine. Take a minute.
Through all this new information you've just given me. That also plays into... What the fuck? I completely forgot.
You're fine.
My brain just short-circuited.
Okay.
That plays into... What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is... Like, Robert Pattinson finds out that Defoe's name is Thomas, like his.
Yeah.
But that happens after he kills a seabird.
Right.
So that holds up with your theory.
Yeah.
And also, like, there's all that identity stuff doesn't really start happening until after that scene.
Right. Well, and also what I noticed is Howard talks about an old partner before the seagull scene. He talks about how he had a partner that went crazy and thought the lighthouse had power, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think a lot of people in the movie could take it as a lot of things. He could take it as an actual partner that went crazy, or people could take it as him, like Wake's character is talking about himself, but like putting himself in his partner's shoes, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or you could see it as him projecting himself onto this older man, and he's talking about the partner that he killed during his old job in the when he was working with lumber and trees, because he feels like he killed that person, and so he did die. And so if you think about it in terms of like he's combining several people to make Wake in his mind, you could see it as him projected, like what he's saying his old partner did is him, like he's going crazy because he thinks the light has some kind of power, but at the same time he's like, oh well, that partner died and so did his partner, you know what I mean? Like it does feel like throughout the entire movie that that's just a projection of himself onto whoever the hell this guy is.
God damn.
Blowing my
I don't know how to respond to that. That's just like
it's a lot of information, and like I sat there the whole movie, and if you sit through it thinking that, it's like, oh, that makes sense. But again, like you were saying, that could be wrong. It could be something completely different, or it could be nothing. I think it would be even more fun going through the movie if you read one of the theories and try to sit through it with that theory. Because no matter what the theory is, the whole movie is going to make sense doing it that way.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so great, is like I said, they do all these things where they make little things seem important, even though just from a logical, like, watching it without doing any hidden meanings, a lot of the things they put focus on don't come back. Like, the hole in his pants isn't relevant unless you put meaning on it. There's another, I can't think of what there was another thing that they did a zoom in on. It was the water, when he was mixing it. I mean, there was the scene where the seagull died in it, but it seemed like whatever he put in the water was going to do something. It didn't really. That specific aspect of it never came back. And so I think that's why it's so easy to put meaning on everything, is because the movie treats everything like it's important, but at the same time, all the information they're giving you is gibberish. And so it's like, you're trying to decipher pretty much nothing.
God damn. I really gotta step up my game.
That's the end of my theory. That's what I thought of last time.
You've got like a whole dissertation on this. All up in your head.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just, and again,
you know. You've just explained to me how you know.
Again, I could be very wrong on that theory, but that's just where I'm at.
I mean, like I said earlier, the movie's kind of just like, it feels like it's just designed that way.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, to bring in my research.
Yes, do it.
An interviewer asked him, like, Robert Eggers, like, do you have, like, an idea of exactly what this is? And he said yes. So,
Right.
in his head, there is an answer. But that doesn't change the fact that it seems like it's very much designed to welcome a bunch of different answers.
And I don't know if this is one of your things, and I apologize if it is, but I referenced it earlier where, I don't know if this is, I think it's an interview I read, where the director basically just said, like, he is so contradictory in his interviews, and I think it's on purpose. Because sometimes he'll say, well, there is a meaning, and sometimes he'll say there's a lot of meanings. But I do remember one interview where he literally just said, all I did was make a movie about two guys going crazy. And so I think to him, he's just screwing with everybody. I think that's literally what all of this is there's probably not a meaning, but he realizes how well he made it to be, I can't think of the word I'm thinking of. Something you can something you can project whatever you want onto, and so he's just running with it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think he's just screwing with everybody, personally. But I do think that's interesting. I think he does think there's some kind of one answer, but...
Hey, Parker?
Yes.
Are we wrapping up our conversation?
Yeah.
On this?
Yeah, we can wrap it up.
To close us out, I think I'd like to make a confession.
Yes.
I have not yet seen The Witch.
Neither have I. Maybe that'll be an episode we do. That would be really interesting. I think we should do an episode on that.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll kind of wrap this up. We thought of doing a thing where we could wrap it up by talking about suggestions that each of us have, in terms of, like, so it could be a comic or a movie or just something we've been reading lately that we've been pretty into.
And people can send suggestions, I guess. I don't know how, but they can if they want to track us down.
Yeah. You can send suggestions replying on whatever this is. If it's on YouTube, go ahead and reply there. I'll also be putting it through Anchor, which puts it on a lot of different sites. So, but if there is a way to do it, go ahead and send it to us. But if you want to send it through our Twitters, again, mine is Parks000. And then Sam, go ahead and plug yours for the retweet.
Mine's Comic Nerd Sam.
Yeah.
Yes. I want everyone listening to retweet everything I've ever tweeted.
Right.
If someone listens to this and they don't, I will report you to Twitter.
And if you do it, you get a free copy of the Lighthouse with the masturbation scene thrown in every scene and a half.
Now, Parker, I'm not going to go on a whole Indiana Jones escapade in order to fulfill that promise.
There's got to be one copy hidden away in a vault somewhere.
And I can't make it myself. that wouldn't be in the spirit.
Yeah.
I'd have to actually find that. It might be a myth. Who knows? I'll ask Robert Eggers if we ever interview him.
We'll email him for you guys. Okay, so
the editor release the masturbation cut or uncut, depending.
All right. So, Sam, what is your suggestion for people right now? What have you been reading?
What do you mean?
In a comic or...
Oh, okay. Well, sure. I'll just talk about the stuff I've been reading and watching recently.
Yeah.
I've been watching. There's this nice box set that Arrow released recently for collecting all the movies, not all the movies, but a lot of movies from my favorite director, Shinya Tsukamoto.
Hell yeah.
And Parker, you haven't seen any of his films, right?
No, I have not, but I've been super interested in all of them for a while.
And our next episode of this podcast is going to be one of them.
Yes, it is.
And that's set in stone, or may I say, iron.
Yes.
Give it room to breathe. Give it room to breathe. Settle in.
Yes. um,
Give it a little more room. Okay, now I think they get it. So oh my god. So going into the box set, I had just seen Tetsuo the Iron Man,
mhm,
and I had seen Snake of June.
mhm.
So I had seen one film from when he was batshit crazy with his filmmaking,
Yeah.
and then one film from when he was more kind of reserved. So it kind of gave me this disjointed kind of opinion on him. Where I'm just like,
Mhm.
well, he seems one of these actors who just kind of like, goes all over the place. Okay. But watching his films now, I'm just like, oh my god, I love this man.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't really a fan of his
Mhm.
before with just those two movies. But like, oh my god, Tetsuo 2
Mhm.
is like, it's like the first one. Well, I guess
Yeah.
I won't talk about that much because maybe we'll do an episode on it.
Yeah.
I don't
think-
know how. You'd have to buy it actually, but
I'll find a way.
Tetsuo 2, Tokyo Fist, and just last night I watched Bullet Ballet.
Mhm.
Oh my god, Tokyo Fist is maybe the best movie that explores like masculinity
Mhm.
I've ever seen.
Yeah. I think it's what you were talking about a minute ago. I think it's super interesting, like if you have a favorite director, to watch like their first movie where they're not as experienced and they don't know what they're doing, and then watch like a movie that they're super confident in, like throughout making the process. Because I think a lot of I don't know, it's a cool way to look at directors, like seeing you, because you see reoccurring things, you see like aspects that they tried to implement in the first movie they ever did, and then later down the line you're like, oh yeah, here's all kinds of things that they either dropped or they kept in terms of style, and I don't know, I think it's cool to do.
Parker,
Yes.
it's interesting you bring that up. That's gonna be something that we'll talk about in the Tetsuo episode.
Ooh.
Because, one, there's a film he made before Tetsuo
Mhm.
called The Adventures of Denshu Kozo.
Mhm.
There's another name called The Adventures of Electric Rod Boy. That one has a lot of elements in it
Yeah.
that show up later in Tetsuo.
Ooh.
And, not to mention, he also had a short film they made beforehand
Mhm.
called Phantom of Regular Size, which is just Tetsuo,
Yeah.
but like 18 minutes long, as opposed to like an hour.
You're gonna be running circles around me at the next podcast.
Well, I mean 18 minutes, and it's on YouTube.
Ooh. Yeah, that's true. Maybe
Let's
I'll
just
check it
talk
out
about
then
both.
before we do it.
I don't know if Electric Rod Boy is anywhere.
Mhm.
You'd have to buy the box set, and that would take weeks to get here, and also it's $60. So I don't know if you'd want
Yeah,
to do
broke.
all that. But yeah, I still got more of his movies to go.
Nice.
And yeah, like you were saying, it was interesting. It was interesting to only know like one of his earlier movies and then one of his later ones.
Mhm.
But I feel like it was different because Tetsuo it's my favorite movie ever.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he was young and inexperienced. He knocked it out of the park. It was just like two completely different styles of filmmaking.
Right.
And
Well-
I recently experienced a shift from that because Tokyo Fist is a lot like Tetsuo, and then Bullet Ballet is a lot like Snake of June. Oh my god. I have more to go. I have Haze. Haze, which I've heard is like a very dirty movie,
Mhm.
like texturally. Other than okay, so yeah, Shinya Tsukamoto, my favorite director,
Yeah.
which is an opinion I've come to recently. I've also been reading some stuff.
Ooh.
I recently read a Osamu Tezuka book,
Mhm.
but it wasn't all that memorable. But I also read. I feel like I keep saying I also read,
That's fine.
but I also read This comic called X Out.
Hmm.
It's a. Have you ever read Black Hole?
Have I heard of which one?
Have you read Black Hole by Charles Burns?
No, I haven't.
Ooh, I think that's an episode.
Ooh, could be.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Who knows if we'll be doing this for long enough? Who knows if this will crash and burn? I don't. Ooh, I'm the ghost of podcasts.
We'll do more.
Anyways,
we got plenty of free time right now. We'll do more.
So Axed Out by the same guy, Charles Burns. It's like, it starts off as kind of like a take on Tintin.
Mm-hmm.
Like taking Tintin, except making it kind of like druggy horror kind of comic.
Mm-hmm.
But then it kind of shifts from that kind of style to something more of just like a Charles Burns comic.
Yeah.
And it's about this guy who's dealing with trauma, and somehow he's like in between worlds and dimensions or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he's dealing with like kind of like suicide and relationships. And I read this and it's great. I got to the end and then it said continued in the Hive, and I realized that it was part of a trilogy.
Ooh.
I got duped. I got absorbed into the story, and now I gotta.
Now you're
I'm just gonna
suckered
get
in.
I'm just gonna get the big book because I don't know when, but they collected it into like this one big book called Last Look.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'd recommend that. It has like a lot of match cuts in it, which Charles Burns likes to do.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the work of Charles Burns?
No, but I will look now that we've talked about it because I'm interested.
Look him up now to see, to see the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
Okay.
He's very good with like horror and stuff. But yeah, I've been I watched those and I read that.
Black Hole. Yeah, I have heard of that. Yes, sorry.
Okay.
It took the cover for me to connect the two, but yes, I have heard of that. I apologize.
Cool. And sorry I'm taking so much time, but
No, you're fine.
let me talk about another filmmaker who I got into recently.
Mm-hmm.
Got my friend Perry.
Yeah.
Should I shout out Perry?
Mm-hmm.
I'll shout out Perry. Go follow him. If
Shout
you're
out Perry.
listening to this, you might already be following him. What does... I don't remember his at. I'm a bad friend.
I don't remember
I'm a
any
bad
of
friend
that.
because I don't remember someone's at.
That's the level of friendship.
Let's see. Ooh, sorry. I went on Twitter and I saw a friend's pictures and I was like, ooh.
No,
Fuck. I typed in Perry in the Twitter search bar and got the account Your Fave Cop is a Bastard, and it's Perry the Platypus is a Bastard. Yeah, Perry R at Perry_RUH. He makes movies and he also writes. He made Sungazer, which is on Vimeo now.
Woo.
And it's very good. Have you seen it, Parker?
No, it's been in my list for forever, but I've got 50 things in my backlog.
It's 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it's kind of oh my god, I don't know how to describe it. But the last minute,
Mm-hmm.
at first I was like, what is going on? And then once I realized what Perry was doing, I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. We're also collaborating together on a little zine where Perry's doing the writing and I'm doing the art. So follow him for updates on that probably.
Hell yeah.
It says pin tweet, and I'm very excited because Perry's been knocking it out of the park, specifically with that.
Specifically, if we're going by measurements of what he's knocking it out of.
The
park is most accurate.
Maybe even the town.
I would no, just kidding.
But anyways, I got really off track. But Perry introduced me to this filmmaker. Well, Perry and Evan.
Mm.
Evan Pincus, who did the music for Sungazer. And hold on, I had to go through my head to make sure that was correct. It is. If it's not, then I'll be catching hell from both of them. But they introduced me to this filmmaker named Kenneth Anger.
Ooh.
Who he never did like a feature film.
Mm.
Like definitely not stuff with really any sort of narrative. But like, if we're talking about aesthetics, oh my god, Kenneth Anger has made some of the most beautiful films ever made.
Yeah?
Like, I really recommend his stuff. It's like you sit there and just watch all this stuff unfold without any really like connecting narrative, but like it's all connected aesthetically and like tonally, and it's just like Inauguration at the Pleasure Dome. There's a bunch of shit where like there's backstories to a lot of his films that are just like as interesting as the film themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lucifer Rising, where the score was produced by this musician who had to write the sheet music in jail and have it performed by someone else because he was in jail for one of the fucking Manson murders.
Yeah.
The first Manson murder was done by him. And Perry and Evan were telling me that Inauguration of the Pleasure Dome, Kenneth Anger tried LSD or something, and then the whole trip he had, he turned into film. And I mean, he also made one of the most important underground films from the 60s called Scorpio Rising, which was the first film to have a rock and roll soundtrack.
Really?
And it was a big influence on Martin Scorsese.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's just like, he's very into occult stuff. And also like 1940, I want to say 45, he made Fireworks, which is blatantly a gay film. From 1945? Like, that's incredible.
That's big, yeah.
I'd really recommend his stuff. I think you'd like Inauguration of the Pleasure Dome, Parker.
Adding it.
Yeah, apparently, like, the cut that exists today isn't the original cut, because the original cut was supposed to be like 3 different images being projected onto 3 different theater screens.
Really?
Which it was made in 1957, so that's like so out there.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Did he ever get to like execute that, or did it never end up happening?
He did it once, apparently. Ooh. And then every showing after that, it's just like a re-edited version. It's oh my god, Kenneth Anger is great. Post 2000s Kenneth Anger is an entirely different beast. I watched Lucifer Rising and Fireworks, and after seeing Lucifer Rising, because Perry likes to stream movies, and he and Evan showed me Lucifer Rising, and I was like, oh, I gotta watch this guy's stuff. And so I said, okay, I'll watch all of his apparently bad stuff, so then I could just knock all the good stuff out, and that'll be my last impression of him, and I'll be all set. Oh my god, Parker. Post 2000s Anger sucks. He sucks so bad.
Yeah?
It's a joke that me and Evan keep pestering Perry by like bringing up Anger Sees Red, which is just like, it's like something an amateur YouTuber could make better. It's, oh my god. And I snapped and said, nah, I'm just going to fucking going to the good stuff. After I watched a 40-minute film that was just Anger editing together a bunch of smoking ads and anti-smoking ads. And I watched that and I was like, I'm done. I'm blasting ahead now. I want to see Inauguration of the Pleasure Dome. And then I spent a day just watching his 4 best films, and I was like, hell yeah.
Nice.
I also watched Chips. It sucked.
Yeah?
It was not good. And yeah, so everybody watch Chips is what I'm saying.
Alright, is there anything else you wanted to add?
Chips 2, baby. 2, make it happen.
Okay, so...
Release the Shepherd cut.
Okay. So I have... I'm sorry, I didn't know how to transition out. Okay.
Nobody knows how to transition from Chips, to be fair.
No one, ever.
No one.
Okay, so I have...
How long have I been watching Chips? 5 weeks? 4 days?
Okay, so I have 3 comic suggestions, and I'll make them quick.
Ooh,
and
okay.
then...
You gotta make them quick.
I won't speed them up or anything, but they're not like long reviews I have or anything.
Yeah.
So I've been reading, and they're all DC ones because I'm a basic. I'm basic. So I would really recommend, especially now with everything going on, I think a really great comic is Superman Smashes the Klan.
Hell yeah.
The art is by one of my favorite artists, Gurihiru, if that's how you're saying it. I think it is. And then the author is Jean Luen Yang. I'm hoping I'm saying that one right.
Yes.
It's exactly what it sounds like. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a comic about that's in 1946 when the KKK was at their peak of BS, and it's like 1940s Superman when he didn't have as many powers as he does now, essentially fighting off the KKK, and it's a really great comic because it has a really great message, but it's not. So I think Superman comics have a really bad issue where they have great messages when they try to do messages, but they do it very ham-fisted. Like, it's very shoved in there last minute. But this feels very like they educate you on the history between the Superman radio station, I think it was, and the KKK and their history. But they also, in the actual comic, they have a lot of memorable characters, and the art's really great, so it's easy to look at. The dialogue's not like Watchmen level of anything, obviously, but it's very like, I don't know, everything's very relatable. It's really fun.
It looks fun.
Yeah, it's very short too, so it's not like you got to sit there for very long. It's 3 issues and they're all pretty short. Yeah. But it's a really fun read, especially if you're a new Superman fan, which is what I am right now. But I don't know, it's worth a read, and there's only a few issues, so it's not going to be a huge amount of money either. And then
is it like collected at all?
What's that?
Is it like collected into like a book at all?
It probably is. I don't know specifically just yet, but I'm sure if there's not a paperback now, there will be in the next month or so, because it came out a little bit ago, and there's only a few issues, and they're done.
Oh, 1 second.
So.
Bye, Bugs Bite. See you in the morning. Sorry, my mom was saying goodnight.
No, you're fine.
Leave that in.
I'll leave it in. Okay, so for me, the next thing I've been reading is all of the Deceased comics, and for those of you who don't know, that's DC's current zombie, essentially Marvel Zombies run. But
we were talking about that.
Yeah, but in my opinion, it's so much more like, I don't know, so much more in your face, because I think with the Marvel Zombies, a lot of where their aspect of it comes from is everyone's already a zombie. There's no pressure, but they all still have their personalities even through being zombies. So I think it's much less of a gamble than Deceased is, because whereas with Marvel you can keep the same characters, although their exploration of Spider-Man is insane, and at some point I'll go over that, because they break apart and put back together Peter Parker's character as a whole. But in terms of this, it's essentially where Darkseid finally masters a strain of what is it? I can't. Oh my gosh!
Anti-life equation.
Anti-life equation. But what he does is he creates essentially a technological virus that goes from computer to computer and technology to technology to spread it, and when people see it, it turns them into zombies that just want to rip people apart. And
I remember that.
It's such
Was
a
it
like.
you said? Was
No,
it
go
you
ahead.
said it was like Pulse?
What's that?
Didn't you say it was like Pulse?
Yeah, well, I didn't see Pulse, but it's very, I don't know.
You haven't seen Pulse?
No, but it's on my YouTube. I found it on YouTube. I'm watching it. Trust me.
I must have said it then.
You might have said it, I think.
Sorry, buddy.
But it's so visceral and in your face, and they don't hold back punches on killing main characters. I would say this, it's a spoiler alert, but it's literally like in the first few pages of the first issue, but Batman is almost immediately infected, which I think was a really smart move, only because Batman's really good at getting out of situations like this, and so easily they could have had him as a cop-out. But they were giving themselves a cop-out. That's not what this comic is. This is them putting themselves in a hard spot in terms of writing, and they did a very good job at like making side characters that not a lot of people think of really important in this,
Nice.
and giving other characters a chance to shine. Jimmy Olsen's becoming a big part of it in the new part that's coming out. But it's such a hard take on like superheroes versus zombies, because there's not a single nobody's immune to it and nobody's able to stop it. It's just going to happen. If you're infected or whatever, it's super fast and there's almost no way to stop it. And it's I don't know, it's very real to me and I love it. So read that.
That sounds cool.
It is.
I have a question.
Yes.
Who's the writers or art?
Oh yeah, sorry. The writers. So let me do the original because there's 4 series and I'll tell them to you. In just a
Okay.
second. Sorry, I gotta pull it up just so I don't say the wrong thing. Okay, so there's Deceased. Deceased, A Good Day to Die, which is super short. I don't think they made too much of that. Deceased, The Unkillables, which is one of my favorites. They basically just get all of the characters in DC that can't die together, or can't easily die at least, like Slade / Deathstroke and people like that. Like that just have super fast healing and stuff that would prevent them from dying as easily as other people would. And getting them together. And it's essentially like villains turning into good guys, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And that one's really good, but they're now coming out with DC Hope at World's End, which is, I won't spoil it, but it's essentially a return, like a time skip. So there's some time after everything that happened in the initial run, and seeing where the Earth is now, and all the heroes trying to clear it out. But the original thing is 6 issues. It was written by Tom Taylor, and the art is by Trevor Hairsine. I think that's how you say that. Yeah, read all of it. They're all really like the regular run has 6 issues. Unkillables just came out with its 3rd and last edition. Issue, and then That Good Day to Die is super short, but it has Constantine in it, and he's a big part of it later. I know, I love Constantine. So it's a really big and ambitious crossover, and I would suggest everybody read it while there's still time before the finale comes up, which is it started a couple days ago. But yeah, everybody read that one.
Is it similar to Darkest Night or Blackest Night? I remember what that one was called.
So I think I would almost say yes, but I think the big difference is, number one, there doesn't seem to be a way for them to come back. There technically is in the original run. There's a way to get them back, but I won't spoil it. Something happens that makes it so that's no longer viable.
Okay.
But I think the big difference between this and Marvel Zombies and Blackest Night is that the zombies don't have personalities. They're just zombies. Like,
oh.
So yeah, I forgot to mention that. There's no personality in these things. They're just bloodthirsty zombies, but they have the powers of superheroes now. That's where we're at. Like, which I think it would have been cool to have like some histories get brought back up and stuff like that, but they did do that during Blackest Night. So
Yeah,
I think it's really cool that they're trying something new with it. And then I only have one more comic that I'll recommend as soon as I have it pulled up. The current run of Superman. Everybody go read the current run of Superman. I wasn't a fan of the Rebirth stuff, but the stuff they started doing in mid 2018, I think, when they rebooted it again, even though they already rebooted it like a year before that. It's all fantastic right now. The author is Brian Michael Bendis, and then the artist is Ivan Race.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's all good. Like, every issue is really great, and they all tie in with other comics that you could go read separately. Superboy joins his own team and stuff like that. The Legion of Superheroes, which is making a return, and it's all linked together, and it's all pretty fantastic. So, as you can tell, I like Superman right now. So
yes.
But that's my big thing right now. So everybody go read those 3. That's the end of my suggestions.
I have a recommendation for you since you're in Superman phase. You should read Superman's Secret Identity.
I will. I read the beginning of that and I didn't finish it, but I absolutely will now that you're reminding me.
It's such a good concept.
Like it. Yes, it was really. If we're talking about favorite Superman comics, All-Star Superman, all the way.
I really gotta reread that. I read it in like high school.
It's my favorite. It might be one of my favorite DC comics of all time. If not, like there's a weird floaty circle of like all my favorites. I don't have like a specific list, but in that is definitely Blackest Night and All-Star Superman and All-Star Batman too.
All-Star Batman.
All-Star Batman is a very gritty, like real Batman. It's
Parker,
good. It's not my favorite thing ever.
Parker, I love that you're a fan of that comic.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people who might get mad at you for that.
Probably. It's not. I just like. I know he's a prick. I know that's the point of it.
Yeah.
And I know people don't like that. But I kind of really like how like the villains are portrayed and how Batman handles situations. Like, there's real stakes for it. It doesn't just feel like Batman's a god, nobody can touch him. It feels like Batman's in a situation right now. I don't know. The first thing with Two-Face was great.
I'm curious. I'm curious about something, Parker.
Yes.
What other Frank Miller comics have you read?
Let me pull up his comics just so I can. Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure. Hold on 1 second.
Because All-Star Batman, that you're talking about the Frank Miller one, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Let me pull them up just so I can.
I'm interested because if it's a certain answer, then I will be over the moon.
I read some of Sin City. I loved it. I couldn't read the rest of it though, so I'm going to start it over. But I did really like it. It's not like I didn't like it. I just fell out of it really quick. Batman Year One, I think might be my favorite.
Okay. I was really hoping that All-Star Batman was the only one.
No,
I was thinking to myself,
I
was thinking if that's the case.
Oh, and Dark Knight Returns, obviously.
Okay, yeah.
I haven't read his Daredevil Born Again comic, but that's definitely on the list. So.
Oh yeah.
Frank Miller's great.
Yes. I think you should read Sin City.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'll have to reread it because I can't remember what happened when I read it originally, which is a very fun feature of ADHD. But oh, it's fantastic. I love reading a story and then stepping away for 2 minutes and coming back and I can't remember anything and I have to start it over. That's my favorite.
Hey,
why do you think? I've been reading Game of Thrones for 5 years and I'm only halfway through book 2. I need you to understand.
Parker, you have privilege over me. You can experience things for the first time again.
That's true. That's the good thing about it. But that's the fun thing about ADHD is even if I've read it before or watched it before, I can just do it again and it'll be fine.
Parker, you're lucky. I wish I had ADHD. So
yeah, we've been talking for a while, but
do you remember when JP made like a joke about like it was like an edgy joke about disabilities, and then you were like, I have a disability.
I love doing that to people only because I don't mind, but I know that they for a second think I do. They're like, oh crap, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, I don't care, it's fine. Oh man. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. Glad we got to do this. I'm excited for the next episode of this.
I'm glad that 3 months after announcing it, we finally got to do it.
We announced it way back in like December, I think. Maybe. I think it was December. Oh
god.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the beginning of this year, it was last year.
It was like
man.
December or so, but we announced, or no, it might have been January 1st, if I'm remembering correctly.
I've been through like 5 different profile pictures since then.
You've been through a lot of profile pictures since then.
And like the
And I
announcement is
became
like.
an artist since then, so I mean.
Wait, really?
Oh wait, no, I think I was an artist at the end of December. I can't remember. Timelines are weird.
I don't know.
But yeah, thanks for listening. The next episode,
Yeah.
in case we didn't make it obvious enough, we're going to be doing Tetsuo Iron Man.
Yes.
Which
Thank
I'm
you all for
extremely
listening.
excited for. I'm
I'm excited to see where all this goes.
Yeah, I'll be going in completely blind to that movie, but obviously, as you can tell, Sam has been watching them already.
Yes.
So you're going to run circles around me once we get that episode.
Yes.
You're going to be pulling out all these receipts, and I'm going to be like, yeah, the movie
fuck,
was
hold on.
good. I liked this scene.
Wait, hold on, Parker.
Yes, I'm holding.
I think
Yes?
I don't know what just happened. I think my dad is playing a prank on me.
What just happened?
Because while we were talking here, sorry, I haven't heard what you said in like the last 30 seconds.
It's fine.
Because I have like a one of those Amazon devices in my room.
Yeah, you're fine.
And it's connected to other ones throughout the house, including one in my parents' bedroom.
Yeah.
And I think my dad just sent me a message. And like I was talking to you and then it started going off. I'm like, what's going on? I didn't hear what it was saying. And then I responded yes to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then it said, okay, playing now.
What?
And it just played me the D's Nuts Vine. The audio from the D's Nuts Vine.
Perfect.
I think, and my dad loves saying that, so I think he just like pranked me. That has not. I'm sorry. That's never happened to me before. I don't know how to emotionally just respond to it.
Oh.
Cause I wasn't expecting it. I thought like it had heard me say something and accidentally triggered because of it. And then when I accidentally said yes, I was like, oh, what's playing? And then I stopped and I listened. And it was
I never heard
fine.
you once. I never heard you say, "Hey Alexa, play the D's Nuts YouTube video."
I know. I was like, how did it do this? And now my dad's laughing outside my door.
Yeah, it's him.
Okay.
But yeah,
What were we talking about? We were talking about Tetsuo the Iron
we'll
Man.
wrap it. Yeah, I was just saying you're gonna run circles around me once we do that. Cause
Yeah, you said run circles, and I said, oh, it's funny. You talk about running.
That's funny, D's Nuts. Yeah.
It's funny you talk about running. Because there is some in Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Ooh.
And you'll get what I mean.
Very excited.
Except you won't, because you'll forget I said this.
Probably.
Because it'll be like a week from now.
It's very likely.
And I'll forget I said it too, so I can't even remind you.
Right. But yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. We're gonna do more episodes of this. I have a few people that plan on joining, but I won't announce them until like the episode before, just in case they back out.
Barack Obama.
Yeah, we had him, but no.
Yeah.
He
He decided to go on cold ones instead.
was gonna talk about Perfect Blue, but it fell through. But yeah.
He's gonna talk about Ichi the Killer, but
Yeah, it just didn't happen. The conflicts in schedule and stuff, but
and like he was the one.
Right.
The thing is, he was the one who was
He asked.
very heavy. He was like, "We gotta do an episode on Ichi the Killer," and we were like, "Are you sure?" And he was like, "Yes, we do."
Right. And
So we're still gonna do it, but like,
not with him.
it's just like, yeah. And he was the one, like he was pushing for it too. He's people don't know Obama is like a very big Takashi Miike.
He's a big weed.
Yeah. He Dead Alive.
I'll say this really quick about him though. I think in like the end of last year, he put out his list of like his favorite movies of that year on Netflix, and one of them, I think it was his number one. One of the ones on the list. The first 5 minutes of the movie is the main character trying to masturbate to Barack Obama.
I saw that.
And he put that as one of his favorite movies of all time in that year. I just think that's so good.
I think it would have been funny if somebody had like photoshopped that, so that it was instead listing like a bunch of like cult movies, like Ichi the Killer and Tetsuo the Iron Man,
or
Beyond the Black Rainbow,
or it's oh no, words are escaping me. Or it's Willem Dafoe's speech in the Lighthouse.
or a list. Actually, somebody already probably did this, or a list of like hentai. I like Black Bible.
Man.
I like Black Bible a lot. Have you ever watched The Blue Girl? Now I don't really mess with Boku no Pico, but I won't be lying.
I sure
if I
hope
said
he doesn't.
it didn't have an impact on my life.
I sure hope he doesn't. You think Obama watches Beastars?
I hope.
I hope so too.
One can only
Alright.
hope.
That's a great ending. That's a great. Thanks for listening. And
Have you seen JP's meme?
no.
Where the studio like released this video. They just took the Lugosi model and they just like turned it around.
Mm-hmm.
He added like it's just like JP edited this video where it's just the model like staring straight on, and you hear these button presses like beep beep beep, and it starts turning. It's just like a microwave noise of. It's my favorite thing JP's ever made.
That's awesome. 10 out of 10.
Oh hey,
Yes.
let's give a shout out to JP.
Yeah.
Since we have a
JP's a
captive
friend of ours.
audience here, since they have like one of those saw machines on their heads, but with headphones. Hold on. Gotta remember at Garnet Sunset. He's my friend. He's your friend Parker.
Yes.
And he's a cool dude.
Woo!
And he's been going through some rough shit. Not gonna say any specifics.
Right. But he's
I
really
think he'd
cool
get a
and
kick
has
out
some
of
neat
it.
interests.
Think he'd
And
get a
he's-
kick out of it if you followed him.
Yes.
He's also getting into Xenoblade, so if you like Xenoblade,
And he's getting me into Yakuza, which is a slow and long process.
Oh yes.
I'm
Yes,
trying,
but you-
guys. I'm trying.
You both have a love for Vocaloid.
Yes. Although we weren't going to
Cool.
make that public, but now it is. So thanks, Sam.
Oh shit.
I'm kidding.
God damn it.
I don't care.
Now Hatsune Miku is gonna come and give us a copyright strike.
She's going to kick our shins in.
The Lighthouse was just Hatsune Miku.
She's not even color coded to be the same black and white. She's just.
Has anyone made a Vocaloid version of the Hark speech from
I'm
the
going to find out.
Lighthouse?
We'll get back.
Oh my god, we'll get back to
We'll get back to Bill next time with it.
That's the cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. That's how you guys are going to come back next time.
Don't look it up yourselves.
Yeah, you got to
That's
keep it
cheating.
until we put it out.
That is cheating.
But yeah, I'm excited for next time, Sam.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun doing this. I can't wait for the next episode.
Yeah, me too. This was interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Having to talk and knowing that nobody's listening to what I'm saying right now, but they will be in the future. But also it'll be edited, so I don't know exactly what they're going to be hearing.
Oh, I'm just gonna put the unedited cut somewhere.
Oh, okay.
No,
Hi,
I'm
should
just
we say what our pronouns are?
kidding. Sure. Mine is he, him. Yeah.
I'm she, her.
Yeah.
That's gonna be. There's gonna be some
It's a good
people
thing we
listening to
waited
this.
until the end to do that.
Yeah, there's gonna be some people listening to this. That's gonna be like a slap in the face. She, her. What? 'Cause-
All right. Thanks everybody for watching. I had a
Thank
lot
you.
of fun. we're gonna play off now. Sam.
All right, and to play y'all off, we're gonna end it with a song that's our favorite song. We love it. We listen to it all the time. And here you go. We just want to say, live and learn.